This is the brand new 2020 Honda Pilot Black Edition, a 3-row SUV that can haul the family in style. The Black Edition gets unique styling both inside and outside while retaining all the standard and safety features that comes in a normal Pilot. Is it the right SUV for you? Find out. First, I want to give big thanks to Honda of Laos, which made this video possible. So if you're in the market for a brand new or used Honda, make sure you check them out. Their URL is in the description below. Now, let's start out by looking at the front end to this Black Edition Pilot. Now, to me, this looks significantly better than the Pilot Elite and all the other trim levels out there, and that's due to one major change. And that happens to be the chrome grille is swapped out for a black grille. And that's right, it's painted black. But somehow, when you combine that with the crystal black paint, the front end is transformed. Now, outside the grille, nothing else has changed versus a Elite Edition, and that's not a bad thing. Take a look. These headlights are actually really good looking. They actually pop out due to all the black, right? You still have daytime running lights. Everything is LED, including the fog lights. You got a huge Honda emblem. All the Honda sensing sensors are hidden behind here. Take a look at the bottom bumper. You do have black trim in the middle. On the side, you got fog lights, right? You got turn signals on both sides. Even though you do have a lot of matte black down here, it's hidden because the car is black. And this is the only color you can get, actually. It's a crystal black color, and that is the only one you could get on the Black Edition. But when you combine all this together, it just looks like a proper SUV that's very stylish, and it really stands apart from the Elite Edition and all the other Pilots out there. Now, moving on to the side, as you would guess, everything has been blackened out. There is no chrome pieces anywhere. Well, with the exception of the lug nuts on the wheels and the Honda emblems. But that's it. That's really it. Starting with the wheels, these are 20-inch alloy wheels that's painted black. The mirrors are black. The window surrounds are black. The roof rail is black. The handles, privacy glass, everything is blackened out. And even the matte black pieces that are not painted, because they're matte black, they also fit in very nicely. And just like the front end, just visually makes a big impact. Now, moving on to the backside, just like what you expect, everything is blackened out and it looks great. You got black privacy glass, spoiler, you got blackened out taillights, which is LED, right? And the bumper, everything is blackened out. Now, one thing to note is with the Black Edition, you can only get all-wheel drive. You can't opt for front-wheel drive. Now, moving on to the trunk, even with the third row up, you have a very significant amount of trunk space. It's pretty deep, very wide, and underneath here you have a big kind of like cubby hole to put whatever you want in here. This is actually pretty deep, probably 68 inches and very wide, and you have spare tire underneath there. And if that's not enough, all you have to do is pull the strap and fold down the third row and your trunk space increases dramatically. And what I love about the Pilot is these straps. You got a lot of manufacturers that have buttons, and you got switches that take forever. Take a look at how fast this is. 2 seconds at most. And to get it back up, 2 seconds at most. This is a really, really easy design. You have subwoofer here. You do have a power outlet and a small cubby hole on the side. And this is a power activated tailgate, and it has the hands-free feature. Take a look at how easy this is. Very first time. All right, moving on to the second row of this Black Edition. It is pretty much identical to the Elite Edition, and that's not a bad thing because it pretty much has it all. Honda designed the Pilot for families, and an Elite Edition, you get everything. A pair of vents, you got climate controls, you got media controls, you got USB ports, you got an outlet, you have 2 cup holders on each side, you have another 2 in the middle, you do have rear sunshade, and you have a large media screen over here as well for the kids. And in addition, you have 2 sunroofs, front and back, right? And these are captain chairs. Now, the captain chairs are standard on the Black Edition and Elite Edition. On the lower editions, you can opt for a third seat here, but the captain chairs are nice and wide and comfortable. They can move however you want them. You can go forwards and backwards, and then lean forward or backwards, right? This has it all, and it's very, very comfortable and nice to be back here. So here's a better look of the Black Edition seats. So as you can see in the middle, they have this kind of red accent that kind of just sticks out, kind of gives you that little contrast. You also do see the red stitching on the sides. It is leather and it feels very nice. And take a look, you got this kind of like this center console here to put whatever you want. It is very sturdy. I'm sure if kids stepped on it, it will be okay. You do have a couple of cup holders. And moving on over here, as I said, you get a pair of vents, climate control, you get a whole bunch of stuff to control the entertainment system up there, including HDMI, so if you wanted to run a Blu-ray or DVD, you can. This is where you plug in the headsets. You get an outlet here for a game system or iPad, and you get a pair of USB ports. You pretty much get it all. And getting in the third row is really, really easy. All you have to do is press this button. That's pretty much it. Just press this button. And take a look. The seat just kind of folds forward and moves up, and you can push this up. Even with the car seat, it can still move up to a certain point. And as you can see, there's a good amount of room to get back there. Now, in terms of the third row, you actually get a lot. Adults could fit back there comfortably somewhat. You got 3 cup holders, you got a pair of vents, you got speakers. You pretty much get it all in this Pilot. All right, so now I'm in the front. Take a look from the seats to the door panel, to the center, media, entertainment system over here, to the gauge cluster and the steering wheel. Everything looks very nice. But on the Black Edition, the only thing you really get is this. The color is different along with the seats and the stitching, but everything else is pretty much the same. Now the gauge cluster, there's a large screen in the middle. Both sides is analog. So on this side, you have volume control. This basically goes through the computer. You can see there's a whole bunch of stuff, trip computer, phone navigation, how the torque is distributed. You got some phone controls over here. This kind of sets the lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control, whether or not it's on or off, and this is how you would set them. Now this is a heated steering wheel, which is a major plus for those of you guys that live in places that get snow. Now, it's hard to see, but you do actually get paddle shifters over here. They're hidden and tucked away as they should be because they're completely useless on an SUV like this, but Honda decided to put them there anyways. Now on this side, you get an eco mode or economy mode, which basically no one ever uses. So this is for parking sensor, this is for lane keep assist, this is for collision mitigation, and this is for traction control. And then over here, this is touchscreen. It's pretty easy to use, pretty responsive. Now the main thing that a lot of people care about, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay is available, so that's very good. Rear entertainment and navigation, all the usual stuff that you want, right? There's a few things that's meant for families, such as cabin talk, so you can use that to talk to the third row if you need to. Honda Music, you got AT&T Hotspot, so if you wanted to turn your car into a hotspot, you could, so that's nice. I mentioned about the volume knob. This was a big thing in 2017-18. This was removed. This has been put back because people want it. Climate control, pretty simple. It's a tri-zone setup, so you can control the rear here, and then you also have one on both sides, right? That's pretty standard. You got heated and cool seats down here, 3 levels. And then you have a Blu-ray player. This is wireless charger for those of you guys that have a phone that supports it. Over here you got another USB port, and you got an outlet here. So that's pretty nice. And then over here, this is what I don't like. This is a new shifter, and you got to get used to it. To park, you press this. To go in reverse, you press down like this. To put neutral, you press that. Drive, you got to do that. So those of you guys that aren't used to this and you're in a tight situation or you need to move really quick, sometimes you freeze because of this. I gotta say, I don't understand why Honda or other manufacturers have to reinvent this. It's just definitely not necessary. This is engine auto stop, which I always turn off, and this is for your mode. So you could see here, you could go into normal, snow, mud, and sand. Just depends on what situation you're in. You got 2 large cup holders, and you got a big center console with storage, you get another power outlet, and you get another USB port. So in this SUV, you definitely don't miss out on USB ports. You got one here, one there, and then you got two in the back. And some cars are just left with one. So you definitely don't have a problem with USB ports. You have a coin tray that goes back and forth. And up here, you can control your two sunroofs. Okay, you do have Honda Link and Honda Assist, which is really useful in an emergency. Oh, and I forgot, you got your home link set up over here for your garage door. Alright, here's a better view of the backup camera. So once you go into reverse, obviously you see the grid line. You have three different views. You can change it, so that it's more linear, or you get a wider field of vision, or what's directly below you. And you get to activate kind of like a sensor surround, not like a 360 surround, but a sensor surround to make sure that there's nothing forwards or backwards or near your Pilot. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's go for a drive and see how this Black Edition Pilot behaves on the road. So now that I'm behind the wheel, let me share a few things that you guys ought to know. So in 2019, Honda decided to do a mid-cycle refresh. It's been out for a while, but they wanted to improve upon the Pilot. So they did change the transmission, 9-speed transmission. They firmed up the shifts. The engine stayed the same, but the transmission was a big change to the Pilot, and in a good way. They also brought back the volume knob, which a lot of people complain about, and they tweaked the suspension somewhat. So in 2020, everything carries over. The Black Edition really is cosmetics. It makes a big visual impact, but from a mechanical, comfort, space perspective, it doesn't really change any of that. So the engine doesn't change. 280 horsepower is still a good engine for this SUV. The transmission feels pretty good, feels pretty lively. I mentioned the paddle shifters. I don't know why anyone would use paddle shifters, but you do get them. Noticing it right away with these seats is it's comfortable, but it's not very supportive. And because it's leather, I'm finding that I'm sliding left and right. It's plenty big, but because it doesn't have bolsters that kind of hold your butt and thigh in, and same thing with the back, it doesn't really hold your back in. If you're taking curves, you're definitely sliding around on this seat. So that's just something you got to get used to. Now, if you had cloth, that wouldn't be a problem. This is definitely a big and spacious SUV. This is one of the largest in the class, meaning in terms of 3 rows, in terms of length, width, especially one of the biggest out there. And those of you guys that aren't used to driving a large SUV, once you get in, you'll definitely feel it. In terms of ride height, it's actually pretty high. Unlike a lot of crossovers where you're barely above a sedan height, not so much in this. You could definitely feel like you're above the ground, which is actually really good for most people. They want to feel that way. It's like a commanding view. So the wheels and suspension, Honda did a really good job. 20-inch wheels. Usually with a thinner sidewall, you're going to feel more bumps. You don't really feel it. I don't feel really anything, and I don't hear the wheels that much either, which is good, and which means the tire selection is good. Overall, I think this is very comfortable. There's body roll when you make sharp turns. There definitely is. This is a large, heavy, and high riding SUV, but it's controlled. All right, so here's a bit of a straightaway here. Let's see how this Pilot does. So decent amount of pickup. This transmission definitely shifts well. 280 horsepower. I got up to about 40 miles per hour relatively quick. It made a lot of noise, definitely a lot of engine noise, but it does not feel slow, so definitely a good thing. Now, in terms of safety features, this has it all. Honda Sense, which is pretty standard now across all Hondas. You pretty much get everything. Blind spot monitoring on both sides, which light up on both sides. You also get pre-collision warning. You get pre-collision stopping, so it kind of auto stops for you. Lane keep, So it tells you if you're swerving out of your lane. It also tries to keep you in the lane. It'll shake your steering wheel and kind of adjust for you. So basically it has everything for you to make sure that you're awake and you're focused on driving. Now the brakes, just like all the Hondas, pretty in the middle. It's actually a good thing. Doesn't catch too early, doesn't catch too late, right in the middle. So I do like that brake feel. So in terms of steering, I would say it's pretty good. I would say it's a little numb, but that's kind of to be expected in a family 3-row SUV. It's not tuned to be a corner carver, right? I gotta say visibility is great. Not only do you sit really high up, so you got that commanding view, but all around, every window, great visibility, great light, and if you open up the sunroof, even more light. So definitely visibility is great. As for pricing, the Black Edition sits at the very top above the Elite trim and comes in around $49,620. And of course, with the Black Edition, you do get the special exterior trim, the special leather inside, the 20-inch black alloy wheels, the red ambient lighting, and everything else I've shown you today. Let's take a look at the good and the bad about this Pilot Black Edition. As for the good, it definitely has stylish exterior looks, it has a spacious 3-row seating, the infotainment system is modern, and the Pilot also has good acceleration and a very comfortable ride, and the second and third row amenities and options are unparalleled, and you pretty much get it all. Now as for the bad, there is a few. The Black Edition only equals visual changes, and that might be lacking for some. It is coming in at over $50,000, which is pricey. Now the front leather seats are slippery, and lastly, that new age shifter takes time to get used to. Overall, I'm giving this brand new Black Edition a score of 94, and if you want to see how this ranks among its peers, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching this, guys. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel and check out these other videos.